And this is Vamc. Hello, sir. You are up next.
Hey, bud, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
Appreciate that.
Um, so another hand from MGM 25.
Okay. Oh yeah, Vamc, you're a frequent caller. You send in some pretty good hands.
Ah, thank you.
This is
Yeah, I
also a
greatly
thousand. This
respect.
is also 1,000 buy-in restricted too, right?
1,000, yes.
Yeah. And do they enforce the cap a lot?
Yeah, they do
Okay.
pretty much.
Yep.
Dealers whenever they notice. So yeah, this was 600. It was table was short. We're generally 800 at MGM, but
Okay. Mm-hmm.
we're 600, 1K effective, 1K ish. Not exactly sure on the count, but not too much about too much low.
Okay.
So pre-flop cutoff opens to 20. Um, Basically everybody was falling. I'm in the small blind with Ace Queen of Hearts. I three bet to 85.
Here on the small one with Ace of Hearts,
Queen of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts, Queen of Hearts to 85. Okay.
In the cutoff four bets to 225.
Okay.
So we flat.
Yeah. So, and I think you had said this in the. Did you ask me about pre-flop here? Like if you would ever fold? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, the one thing, um, I mean, Ace Queen of Hearts, sure. I mean, like I said, did I mention I don't have any reads on the players?
Uh huh.
We haven't played many R, but so I hate to make big folds when I don't have any reads. I mean, he could just be doing anything, right? So,
Right.
well, that's one reason to fold as well, I guess. But
I mean, obviously, you could fold like ace queen off here pretty easily. Ace queen suited is probably
right,
a
right.
little bit, a late versus small blind. I mean, it would be one thing if the guy was under the gun, he's making it under 3x. I mean, the only thing about this is that, the pot's going to be very, very bloated, right? Very, very bloated, going to the flop. But okay, I can get on board with the call. Hero calls, and the pot's like 450.
Yep.
Okay.
So the flop comes Jack of Diamonds,
Mm-hmm.
Seven of
Mm-hmm.
Diamonds, Two of Hearts.
Two of hearts. Okay.
So one heart, two diamonds. I mean, I would have folded to a decent sized bet, but he bet pretty small. I check obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He bets 135, which is, I mean, less than one third, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to call to that sizing. You've got the back. I mean, if you didn't have a backdoor, then maybe you fold. The other two suited ace queen of clubs, ace queen of spades, but this is how you structure, right? It just sucks though. Like I said, like you're gonna put 270 in here on the flop, and the pot's gonna
Yeah,
be 720, and you guys are gonna have what, like a pot size bet left, if that.
right. Well,
So
would have made more sense if we were 2K, 3K deeper, but yeah.
yeah,
Well,
some people, they do make the bet though with the ace five. That's what those charts say. So, so hero
yeah,
calls.
and if he just has ace king, maybe we can steal it at some point. But anyway, um, uh, I call.
Uh huh.
Turn is the three of diamonds. It completes the flush draw.
Okay.
I check.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I, 720 in the pot, just
Yep.
like that,
Yep.
actually. And he checks back fairly quickly. Um,
So check, check. Okay.
yeah. So at the point, I was thinking, does he ever check back kings and queens? I mean, if he had a big hand, kings, queens, aces, like with or without a diamond, like it's a four bet part with flush guard, that doesn't really matter, right? I
I
mean,
mean,
just
I
go with.
mean, if you look at the theory of it, he's just supposed to be piling in with. At this point, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys are gonna have less. I mean, you put in uh 360 out of their stacks, so you've got like 640 left, and less than a pot size bet left. If you look, and they're just getting piloting it in, and then hands without diamonds need protection. So, I mean, I wouldn't be. Right?
Exactly.
Because how many
So
suited
it made
hands are
me
you having? I mean, you don't have many,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. So it made me curious what hand is it? I mean, maybe for a minute I gave him some credit for maybe playing it cautiously, the kings, queens, or aces. But we'll figure out on the river. So river is the ace of clubs, probably the best card in the deck for us, right? I mean, other than
Well, I
queen.
mean, it's if you were gonna bluff on a blank, it's not the best card, right? If he has ace king.
No, no, definitely not. That's why I didn't know what to do on the river
Yeah.
because as played, he has many ace kings in his range, right? Four bet, small c bet on the flop, and kind of give up on the turn and gets there on the river, right? So I didn't know what to do on the river. I
This
wanted
is
to
it.
make a
This is
small.
very, very interesting because of the stack sizes. I think off the cuff here, I probably the right play is to check because if you come out and bet when the diamond comes in, it's really, really. Yeah, I just can't see how you can possibly get called here by a worse hand.
Sorry, one reason I wanted to make a blocker bet is because I didn't want to check and end up in a position of being shoved on, right, with ace queen. And the other reason, sure, I mean, if he had queens, kings, he would just call, right? I mean, if I just lead, again, which sucks, which is good. But even if he has ace king, he would probably just call, right?
Well, yeah, so I did, I've done some stuff on some blocker bets actually, and I talked about blocker bets a little bit last week on the flagship podcast. So here's the thing with blocking, where you do blocking, and actually I take back what I just said because now I'm looking at the board. I think I'm a little bit jaded by the diamonds coming in. If he did have an ace and he was just bullshitting around with you, like ace four, ace five, that's going to go check, check. So you might be able to get called by worse for that. If he was playing some pot control game with queens or kings, is that going to call? I think that's kind of what jumped out at me. Now, but what you're saying about, well, I don't want to face like an all in bet. If you play the hand like a bluff catcher here, and he now moves in at the end or he makes a bet, you just have to evaluate like pot odds and whether or not you think you're good with the pot odds. You could go down the MDF route if you wanted to, because I would find it pretty hard to believe that someone would just shove with ace four, ace five at the end. Although if you check, maybe those hands make a modest value bet because they think that they have the best hand, and you might check call. You might sort of get the guy to value own himself. So it is interesting if you do think that there are some hands that will call here to a block sizing and you sort of freeze the action. I just do. I hate preventing my opponent from bluffing,
I
at the
agree.
end.
I agree. Yeah, I love to induce in spots as well, which is, I guess, why I decided to check in the end also because I wasn't sure where I was at. But I did check, and guess what? He does end up jamming like 700 pot size,
That's
which is
really,
what we
that's
expect.
really, I mean, God, that's strange. So you check and then the cutoff jams with ace king, which by the way, I mean, it's not crazy in the sense that like if you want to sort of make it look like a bluff, he's now kind of I guess you could say polarizing to ace king. And if we don't think that really the fact that the flushing cards are really all that relevant, maybe I can sort of get on board with it. But I do find it a little bit curious at this level. Like if I just walked into MGM and I knew nothing about the player, I wouldn't expect to get owned by an all in here by ace king, which would make me very curious. It's one of these things where I almost might be more concerned about a smaller bet size than a jam.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same thoughts too. It is very polarizing to jam there, right? Ace king or not.
Yeah, but I mean, could you put? But if you don't, if from your opponent's perspective, if you don't really think that diamonds are really that much in play here because of the preflop nature, then you could though. You could make this.
Well, the
You could make this bet.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I don't know if it doesn't matter. Okay, maybe Ace King doesn't want to bet the turn for whatever reason, but
Mm-hmm.
if he still thinks the diamonds didn't matter, Ace King would go for it on the turn, right? I mean, he would want better hands to fold. Uh,
Well, I mean, you mean I don't know if Ace King just continues to bet with no diamond. I mean, there has to be some give ups, right? On Jack seven Deuce three. If you're just gonna go with the hand. This one's another close one though. I would just, you know, I don't think that ace four. The issue is that I don't think ace four and ace five would jam. Would ace king
Sure,
jam
you'd think,
here?
yeah.
Does he ever have any slow plays too? That's the other thing that
Yeah,
has to
yeah. I
come in
mean,
your mind
uh,
too.
the obvious slow play is the ace king of diamonds that
Hmm.
he basically made the nuts on the turn, and going for the over polarized bet on
Or
the
any
river,
ace x
right?
of
But
diamonds, ace five of diamond.
um,
Anything.
sure.
Yeah.
But what about the other ace kings with an ace of diamonds or a king of diamonds? I feel like they would be more aggressive on the turn, right? So if we are going to put him on ace king, maybe it's less likely he has all those, right? Doesn't Probably doesn't have ace of diamonds, king X, or king of diamonds, ace X. Um,
You would think that. I mean, it's weird when it gets down to less than a pot size bet. But yes, I would think that with some frequency, ace king with a diamond in it would be bluffing at the end. One other quick thing that just crossed my mind, although I don't know if it's really a thing here, just because you guys have a pot size bet, is sometimes a really skilled advanced player will actually try to get somebody off the same hand. But I don't think that that's like if he had ace king and he thought that you get you to fold ace king, but it seems unlikely with the
mm.
combos and stuff like that. What did you end up doing?
I called.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't love calling it,
Hmm.
but yeah, what he showed up. He showed up with king seven of hearts or something.
King seven of hearts. Wow.
Yeah, so I kind of
Interesting.
rationalized his play. People don't like getting three bet. I was out of
Hmm.
position, so maybe he thought I would four bet him with my king seven
Right.
suited, whatever. I'm in position. I'll
Right.
see what happens. So he flops a seven.
Hmm.
He bet small. I call, so he knows I have something. Basically gives up on the turn, and the river hits his range and goes for it. That's what I
Yeah,
did.
and again, it's one of these things where you can sort of go down the rabbit hole and sometimes give your opponent a little bit too much credit in thinking that he would be possibly knowing that he could polarize with ace king, but in fact, a player at this level wouldn't. So then you start to get curious, right? Like if you
Yeah.
don't think he's betting ace king here, what is that left with, right? I assume that that's sort of what went down.
Yeah, I figured his king would maybe make like a value size bet, instead of going for the full pot. What am I going to call him with, right? I mean, unless I slow played queens and you know, kind of making a non-believing call on the river, it just felt very polarized. But yeah, these things are probably much easier after you've played a few arbits with the player, I guess. But
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely an interesting one. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, Vamsy. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel and check out the coupon code in the description to try out the Crush Live Poker training site for free.